I usually focus on cuts,
Okay.
young timber cuts that are, 5 years and under. Right as soon as they shed that velvet, they'll leave those cuts, but they usually stay like a mile away from them.
When do white oaks drop, and then when do red oaks drop?
The white oaks are typically like mid-September, and then they'll drop until like the first or second week of October. And then chestnut oaks are same family. They'll drop around the same time frame, but they last a little bit longer. Like I've seen good chestnut oak acorns until later October. Red oaks are the ones that they do have a seed bank. They have a layover period. So they drop mid-October, and when they drop, they have real bitter tannins.
Any acorn I ate, it was like anytime I put one in my mouth, it
my.
tastes terrible. So, all right, welcome back to Hunt the Season podcast. I am Cody. Well, I sat down with Luke Michaels from the Public Chase. He actually recently went down to Maryland and got a buck down in Maryland in the early season. This episode here, we cover all things early season tactics, how food sources, how he hunts it, how to hunt it. He worked with the DCNR, so he knows a good bit about acorns, clear cuts, shelter wood cuts, all that kind of stuff. So we talk about that a good amount in this episode. So it's very early season driven. In this episode, I'm out here taking some reps at 40 yards. This past weekend, I went up to Ethan's camp to do a little rut camp scouting with some of the guys. Zach, Brenton, Jimmy, and Ethan were there. Jimmy from New York, Brenton, and Zach from Virginia. We pretty much all scouted different areas. Zach and Brenton have a really good area that I actually had marked a couple years ago that I wanted to check out and just obviously never really got to it. But they have a good area. They found some big sign in that area. I kind of found keyed in on a certain area that I had encountered last year during the rut, during the November 9th time frame. But I had a buck come up the crest of a hill to the very top. To the left of him was Laurel, and to the right, I didn't know what was to the right of him. So I went over there, I scouted that out. Turns out there's a hard edge between the Laurel and a straight east-facing drop-off. So, I mean, it was just, they have a 40-yard gap to really walk up there, which kind of hourglass figures down to about 20 yards. So I set up one of my only cell cameras up in there. Haven't gotten anything on. I got everything. Well, no, I've gotten everything. Bobcat, coyote, bear, turkey, and a little fawn coming through right there. But there's a faint trail. There's a scrape right there. Freshen that scrape up. Saw a few deer, jumped a few deer. It was just a really good day of scouting. Hung a few cameras, just standard SD cams. Ethan and I went back to what we call the cul-de-sac. And Ethan has a really nice buck on camera. So he's actually going up there this weekend. So this weekend is opening day. I will be out chasing after, probably in the area of where my target was last year. Don't know if he's still there or not. Pretty much I'm going to get in there, dark clock, set up in some acorns that I know that there's acorns at. And then I'm going to, like around that 11:30, 12 o'clock time frame, get down, go walk around, check some cameras, do all that kind of stuff just to see what's on my cameras from when I checked last in the beginning of August to now. But really hope you guys enjoy this episode and had really good luck opening day. If you're out right now, if you're head of the woods listening to this, good luck to you. We'll keep you updated what's going on throughout the season. But hey, it's here. Mornings feel really crispy. Evenings are still a little hot, but deer are still gonna move. It's fall, baby. Let's go. Remember to also check out the description for our partners, Code of Silence. Use code HUNTSEASON10. That'll save you 10% off your whole order. Also, click on the link. That's the affiliate link. Deer Age. Go use code HTS. That gives you 10% off your entire order as well. Go to OnX. Check out OnX. Obviously, great mapping service. They have a lot of things on the app that are new this year. You have Camp Co. Use code HTS to give you 10% off your order. The pre-orders have stopped now for the shirts, so no more shirts are being sold. If you ordered some, they will be shipped out October 13th, and you'll get them. You already paid for shipping, so you don't have to worry about that. Then you got Deer Hunter Synthetic. Go get some scrape stuff before the season starts. Get some N11, so you can put that around that pre-rut time frame. Go put that out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, check out Hobo Gear Outdoors. I just got the backpack for my Lone Wolf, my .5, and I absolutely love it. So it's a full system right there. It has the belt, has the belts on it, has everything's molded to you. So I really like that. Like I said, it's on my .5. So I have my camera underneath right there. I have my hydro sticks on top. Next year I probably will be getting the Lone Wolf sticks. So I love the system. I love how this Lone Wolf system hooks to the tree and grips the tree. Feel extremely safe on it. But yeah, go check out Hobo Gear to check out all that stuff. Once again, guys, good luck this season. Remember to like, subscribe, and give us a rating review on Apple and Spotify. Really appreciate you guys. See you.
I guarantee you, both of us at some point will get to that point where it's like, I would rather just sit in a blind right now.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be 100% time, but until that time, I'm going to make myself suffer.
Yep. First day of rifle season this year. Well, the first week, man, it was brutal. There was a couple times I was in a tree. I hung out of a saddle, so I'm like exposed to everything. And there's a couple times where I'm like, man, this sucks.
I had a pre-hung stand that I hung back in September. My parents have a cabin or a camp now. It's at a permanent campsite in like the Bald Eagle area. And I had it hung up in September. I was like, oh, no one's coming back up in here. Like it was like terrible terrain, like rocky, steep, all that kind of stuff. And of course, like you go in there and the Mennonites and Amish keep pushing deer past, and like the one kid comes up to me and is like, hey, you see anything? I'm like, nope, not yet. But they shot literally right below me. Like this cliff, I shit you not, was like this. And like there was one bench. Like I could look at on X and like you see like the elevation, like the slope angle.
Yeah, like you put two fingers on the screen. Yeah.
Yep. And it was like there was one spot where it was green, but then around it was like yellow and then red all around it. And it's like that bench is where they shot that one deer. And I was like, that was literally right below where I was sitting. Like if they didn't go down there, I probably would have seen one. Like
yeah, we have so I'm down south central Pennsylvania. So I live in like Waynesboro area.
Yep.
But I grew up in like Shippensburg, Newville area. There's a lot of Mennonite and Amish around there. And oh my gosh, we had, I mean, nothing against those guys at all, because they get after it. They really do. But there's a lot of them, and they cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, there's one area that it actually holds some pretty big buck near me that I'm hunting. I don't want to even say locations because people will start going there. But it's close to where I live, and it's like there's some pretty big buck, but it's hard terrain. But yet they put on a lot of drives there, and I'm like, how do these bucks survive? Like it's crazy. Like when they get, I feel like a 3.5-year-old buck starts like to get really smart in these areas, like when they're heavily pressured like that. I mean, even maybe a 2.5-year-old, like when you put on that many drives, like it's like, I forget what the one guy said. It was Thursday. It's I think it's the second weekend or the last weekend. They do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They put on drives, and like they go from one section to the next section to the next section. Like Thursday will start here, Friday will go here, and then Saturday they'll finish on this one side. It's like when you're a 2.5-year-old buck, like you'll learn from that, especially if you make it through that one drive, like that one last week. Like you're going to learn a lot.
Definitely. Yeah, we have. Well, actually, so I'm on the state forest I hunt. It's like 90,000 acres. And in the southern part of the state forest, there's not much understory. So back in, I don't even know what year, but there was a bunch of blowdowns. So a lot of the timber was harvested. So it's a lot of like pole stands and just open timber. And they put drives on like crazy there. But in shed season, I'll go through there. I'll pick up like 125-inch bucks and a bunch of 100-inch deer. I'm like, how do they even make it? It makes no sense.
They find those little whatever it is. Like it's like where either people don't want to go, where they think deer won't be, that they do go because they know people won't go through there. And it gets more obvious the more like you put time in the woods, like where those people don't want to go.
Yeah, most times it's pretty close to the road too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you think about rifle, like I think in PA, isn't it? It's 150 yards from a dwelling and a road.
Yep. So state forest roads, I think you're allowed to hunt. You can hunt. I think you can shoot off of them as long as you don't locate them with a vehicle. But hard roads, I think it's 100 yards, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know if I'm correct on that. But.
I think with the state roads, I think it's like I know in maybe it's North Dakota. I saw it before, but like all you gotta do is like literally step off the road.
Yep.
And like you're good to go. Like I think I was listening to the You Betcha radio podcast one time, and they had a guy call in, and he was like stopped the truck and got out of the truck and like shot a pheasant off the road, and all I had to do was step literally off the road to shoot this pheasant. It's like
crazy.
It's insane. Like
yeah, I guess because it's so open out there.
Yeah,
maybe spotting game from a long ways away.
Yep,
it's crazy.
It is. Well, Luke, how about you introduce yourself to all the listeners, because we're just rolling right now. So introduce yourself, how you got in hunting, and a little about who you are. And I know you're with two different brands, kind of.
Yep. So I'm Luke Michaels. I grew up in the woods, mostly on public land. My dad had me out as soon as he could. Ended up harvesting my first deer on public land. Pretty much every species of game that I've ever hunted. The first one was on public land. So I went to college for forest technology, and I work for the Bureau of Forestry now. And that helps me a lot in in the woods. Yeah. But my brother, he owns a company called Blue Quil Media, which is, a lot of photography, videography for brands, and, producing content for them to put on their pages. And then I started an Instagram page or a company called The Public Chase, just a platform that I can get on there and have some fun and, maybe, persuade some people to get out there and try to do some of this on their own and find some cool things.
Yeah, I think the Blue Quil, I've been following you guys for a while because Hunter Sugar, he shared that stuff, and the photography stuff is really good. I mean, I even look at your page and there's good photography on there. I imagine your brother is taking those pictures, right?
Yes. So mostly, like when we go to archery shoots like TAC, and when we're shooting content, I'll take the camera and take pictures and videos of him, but he knows all the all the bells and whistles on the camera, and he's done some things that I haven't seen very many people do with the camera. So yeah, he's very talented.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the public land chase, that's a, I think a lot more people, like I've been seeing it more and more. I had a discussion with someone else about this too, but like you see, like public land, it got so popular for such a long period of time. And it kind of feels like it's going backwards now, where a lot of people are trying to find private land to hunt because public being so overly pressured for that period of time. And I think it's, because I can go to a parking lot near here and it would be packed like 2-3 years ago. And now I go and it's like, it's not as packed as it normally would have been. Like, do you see that too?
So actually where I'm at, I think it maybe has gotten, I don't know, it stayed about the same. I know turkey season has gotten worse, but one thing I've noticed is in my generation, like even I went to college for forestry, and there was like 3 kids in my classes that hunted. Like really? A lot of kids in my generation are starting to get away from hunting, and it's not a good sign to look into the future.
Yeah, because it's like something like I wish I'd remember the numbers, but it was like 60% or like higher than that is like 50s and older, and then you keep going down after that. And like you said, like the younger generation, your generation, like 20s to even maybe even 30s, like even the adult onset hunters, I mean, I have a buddy who was an adult onset hunter, and he has no time to do it. Like I feel like if you don't grow up in it, you have like once you start having kids, if you don't continue to do that as an adult onset hunter or make time for it, you just kind of stop because you don't have someone else around you going out.
Yeah, you kind of fall into the groove of life and kids and making money.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I definitely see what you're saying. If you didn't grow up in it, I mean, a lot of times, I don't know. I know for me, I've always had a deep passion for it, and I'll never stop it. But I've met some people along the way that they're occasional hunters. It's kind of like, yeah, I'll go out, but I'm not serious about it.
Right.
And there's very few people that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool having conversations with people who are so avid about getting out there and chasing animals.
Yeah, you don't really see too many people in that like middle ground anymore. Like just doing it for like I think my dad, like the older generation who's above us, is kind of in that middle ground where it's like they like it, they're not hardcore about it, but also they're not going to stop doing it for one single year, right? They like it that much that they'll stick with it. They don't care what size buck they get. They don't care what size doe even they get. Like my dad does not care at all what size doe he gets. Like he just wants meat in the freezer. And I'm like, there was a point in time when I was like, you got to start really shooting bigger doe. Like you can't keep shooting this little doe. But then I was like, you know what? If he wants to tag that deer, that's his prerogative, right? Like that's on him. And you can't judge someone for it. Like even if someone shoots a small little, a one-sided 3-point, you can't be like, oh, we should really hold out for something bigger. It goes both ways with doe too.
It does. Yep. Yeah. I mean, my opinion on that is about the same as yours. I think that, if you're willing to put your tag on it and you're willing to stand behind it and be proud of it, who am I to judge you? We all got tags and we all spend time out there. We all grind. And if at the end of the day, when you pull the trigger on what you're shooting, going to be happy with it.
Absolutely. And, this episode will come out. Let me look. I think it's after the opening weekend in October. This will come out opening weekend or opening week or whatever it is of October. And that's like the tag allocations.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that a little bit because like right now as recording, it's July 21st. And so everyone knows 2G, right? 2G sells out so quick. Now you want to, let me look this up quick. Cause when I looked up, yesterday, it was an outrageous amount of 2G doe tags still left.
Wow.
2G currently has 14,000 tags left for doe.
It's crazy.
There's not a single WMU sold out.
Kind of crazy.
And I remember residents went already.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember a few years back, it was kind of hard to get a doe tag like in the third week.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like now, I mean, I know they've upped the numbers definitely. But guys getting 6 doe tags and still being like, you can go a week after the season. I'm in 5A here. You can go a week after the season and there's still tags left. And I remember 2 or 3 years ago, it was like the second or third week of archery. There's still tags left.
Man,
nuts.
It makes you really think like we just talked about with the generation of hunters. Are we losing that many hunters? Because man, it's like, how's there's no WMU sold out right now? We just had the full first round of residents, and you're guaranteed any tag anywhere. So you'd think like numbers would drastically drop in a lot of them. And then you had all these non-residents. Like I had for our ruck camp, I have there's like 4 guys who got doe tags. So like you think if you're coming to PA for like an out of state hunt, you would want to get doe tags. Like
definitely
to get some meat. Because if you don't have time to put in to like scout a bunch in the big woods or I would anytime I go out of state, I want a doe tag. Like I don't want to come home with no meat.
Yeah. So not to get off topic, but I hunt up in New York. I go up there for rifle season and it's hard getting a doe tag up there if you're out of state.
Mm-hmm.
And last 2 years I've gone up there, I haven't been able to get a doe tag. So I've been fortunate to get a buck, but it is always nice having a doe tag in your pocket. Even like I love hunting bucks,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't necessarily shoot does very often, but I will get one because we do deer drives and rifle season,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice to just have a tag in your pocket.
Yeah.
If you're willing to shoot one or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, hunting, it's never meant to be a trophy, like trophy sport. It's meant to be like put meat in the freezer. But yet again, this goes back to like what we just talked about, how like we can't judge people. If someone wants to be a trophy hunter and hold out for a bigger buck, that's also on them.
Yep.
But I just feel like if you're shooting, I always feel like if you're going to shoot buck, you should definitely try and shoot at least a doe or two.
Mm-hmm.
Because and you from forestry side of things, like I'm sure you can talk about that too, about how like you got to balance the herd a little bit.
You do.
With that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot of problems with deer, especially with regeneration. Deer fences and stuff. Those are different types of tactics to kind of target the deer in other areas. But doing big timber sales, like I don't know, 300 acres or bigger, overwhelming the deer is a good way to, still get that regeneration and still combat the deer pressure. If you have 1,000-acre cut, 9 times out of 10, less than 50% of that's actually going to get browsed off.
Okay.
So, but it is good to
Mm-hmm.
take some deer out of the herd for sure.
Now, I want to go back to those fences, right? So, because up in Potter County, there was one up there, I think, from like 2016, and it just got taken down like 3 years ago. So that's almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's so. How long do those fences like? What's the like? How long do they usually stay up?
So typically they're done around a shelter wood cut, which is leaving healthy crop trees that will drop seed. And then, typically those cuts are done if there's regen in the understory present. And then the fence will go up, and it's usually up for about 5 years. And then it'll come down, and then, depending on the growth of the trees in the understory. And then depending on, what the basal area per acre is, some of the bigger trees will then get cut.
Okay.
But there always will be bigger trees in the overstory to continue the drop of seed.
Okay.
So yeah, it's typically 5 years.
All right. So there's one up by my parents' camp that I hunted. Like I walked. Yeah, I was walking on the outside of the fence, heading to my actual spot that I wanted to hunt, and I could see up on the hill like 5 doe just like get up and like run. Like I'm sure in those fences you're going to see a lot more doe than buck unless they get in there when they shed their antlers, because like their antlers are going to get stuck on those little holes that they make. It's gnarly.
Well, a lot of times we have people cutting holes in them and letting deer get in them, and it's an easy way to push deer around and shoot them because they can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically it's mostly does that we see that get into the fences.
I remember there was one when I walked the whole way around that fence. On the very back side of it, there was a hole, looked like it was just cut straight down. And I was like, I should have a camera on that just to see what comes in and out.
Yeah, I mean, there's this one place I was shed hunting this year. There was a ridge that led up to a deer fence, and there was a bunch of scarlet oaks, and the deer were digging the whole way up, and I kept following the sign up, and I came to this huge hole in a deer fence. It was like 6 foot by 6 foot, and it was like a dirt bike trail going into it.
No.
And it's like, yeah, it was like 60-acre fence. And I'm like, man, do I really waste my time in here? Because it's so thick in there.
Yeah.
Like they're obviously just bedding in there and coming out to feed. And I followed the trail for a while and came across some beds, but it kind of dissipated through there. So I did end up finding some nice bucks on that ridge, but just goes to show you, like, whenever there's openings in those fences, they do utilize them.
Yeah, because that was the only real opening that I found in that fence was on the back side of it. And then I sat in there one time for rifles opening day, And I could see up the top there was another guy sitting like out in his climber or whatever, but there was no deer. Like I feel like a lot of like when you have those types of fences up, I feel like a lot of people hunt them.
Definitely. Yep.
Like when it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's a guy that I work with. He kind of focuses around deer fences, and a lot of times there's pressure there. There's definitely people that people know that deer get in them. I mean,
Yeah.
they're never bulletproof, and we spend a lot of time trying to maintain fences because
Mhm.
trees fall on them and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
So well, I want to get to because okay, so this will drop like the first 2 weeks of October. So I want to focus on like that. Like let's start out by what's your like hunting process. So like how am I gonna word this? What's your style of hunting? Put it that way.
So definitely towards the early part of the season, I usually focus on cuts, young timber cuts that are 5 years and under before everything gets too tall.
Mhm.
But so over the summer, I spend a lot of time getting bucks on camera in these cuts. There's a ton of browse, deer are always in these cuts, and then I always see right as soon as they shed that velvet, they'll leave those cuts, but they usually stay like a mile away from them or a mile or two.
Yeah.
And it's typically around, where they can still access those cuts because we do get a lot of pressure down here.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people go to cuts,
Yeah.
but a lot of people are hunting right in the middle of them. And deer aren't going to, I mean, when the understory is low enough, deer will definitely not be in there most times, during daylight hours. But I typically focus around, early cuts, or if I can get on white oaks, they're hard to find down here. But if I can get on a good white oak dropping, close to good bedding, it's
Okay.
definitely I killed this buck right here. I killed
Okay.
him in it was like a 30-acre shelter wood cut, and it was a 4-year-old cut. I killed him on October 11th.
Okay.
Yep.
So with a clear cut and shelter wood cut, like because those are two different kinds of cuts. So like which one of those are you more interested in? Or does it really matter? Just one of them?
Clear cuts are, you have a lot more stuff coming up because there's a lot more canopy open. Definitely, allows more browse and maybe some cover depending on what kind of stuff's growing up. But shelter woods, most times it's in an oak stand, so there's a lot of acorns dropping. And I'll typically try to find a shelter wood that I can focus on some chestnut oak or some white oak because chestnut oak's in the same family. So most times I'll see, deer will eat chestnut oaks just as much as they'll eat white oaks in the early season.
So you said you run cameras and you find that the buck will travel about a mile, like give or take a mile away.
Yeah. Yep.
It could like up to that far. Like, because I often think that because like last year I had a bunch of mature buck on camera. This year I don't run the same time frame, but I think that has to do with the drought. I think that has to with where that camera was. I think it was closer to water. Last summer we had a drought, and I think the buck wanted to be closer to water and not travel far in the heat. So that's why I had more on camera at that moment. Now this year we have, gosh, it won't stop raining, right? But but like and then there's a cut from where that was. There's a cut maybe like 2 to 3 miles away, like as the crow flies. So like I've often wondered, like these buck here, would they go over there, or are you going to see more younger deer over towards that cut because they know, oh, cut, there's food here automatically, and then the older buck will be further away because he's like, I know there's a lot of pressure there, and I'm not even going to go over there. I'll just find other food over here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's a tough period there, the first 2 weeks of October, even into the third week, because then the mature bucks start acting a little funky. What they call the October lull. I've actually had some decent success in the first part of October into the third week of October, and mostly it's just been around food. That's a big thing for me in the early season, just trying to find what they're eating on the most.
Yeah.
And most times it's browse. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I don't know how it's like where you're at, but the white oaks are starting to get pretty scarce down here.
Mhm. It's
Start,
more, I found them, I mean, obviously late season, like I found them around red oaks a lot,
mm,
but white oaks, man, I'm still trying to learn the trees
hmm
quite a bit. I'm terrible at trees, to be honest with you. Like I can go in the woods and I'll find a tree because there's a ton of trees around, right?
hmm
But I I look at one, I'm like, that could be a white oak. I'm not sure. Like it's just one of those things. Like I still I want to have. I wish there was like a pamphlet, like a small little pamphlet that I could take in the woods with me.
mm,
Even there's a few companies out there that make like those hunting journals,
yeah,
right?
yep,
I wish there was a hunting journal with in the front of it. There was like pictures of these trees where I could take it out with me and like look at them because like I don't have service where I'm at, so I can't like take a picture and
yep,
oh this is a white oak, this is a red oak, this is a black, this is a cherry, this is all that kind of
yep.
stuff. Like there's I don't know, I want to learn more about that, but it's just like I don't going out. It's like I'm trying to scout so much already. It's like and
Yep.
then I'm trying to also learn trees on top of that when
It's a
I'm
lot.
a limited amount of time being out there anyway. It's
Yep.
like it's but it's something I definitely need to learn because I feel like that's like the missing piece to like the puzzle.
Yeah, definitely. When I was doing I grew up obviously in the woods most of the time, and I knew I didn't want to. When it came to like picking a career, I knew I didn't want to do anything inside. And as much as I had a passion for the outdoors, I knew I couldn't see myself in any other realm. So honestly, when I graduated high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I played baseball, and the college I ended up going to, I was able to play baseball there and get a forestry degree.
Mm.
And when I first started forestry, I was like, this is cool. I wanted to be a game warden. Like that's everybody's
Yep.
dream.
Yep.
And I started learning some of this stuff, and as towards the end, close to when I was getting ready to graduate, I was like, man, I can really apply this stuff to me being in the woods and utilizing everything I've learned to my advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help a lot when you walk in the woods and you can identify basically any tree that's out there and know the benefits. It's definitely a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's especially when it comes down to food sources. It's like,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know, to know those, like obviously the ones they talk about are white oak, red oak,
Hmm.
and they have black, you have scarlet, you have all these different oaks, but it's like to go in the woods and learn that on the fly pretty much.
Yep.
It's tough. Like if
It
you
is.
like obviously with you with going to school, it's like I'm sure you had like whole class
Oh yeah,
on just on
dendrology.
trees.
Dendrology.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, everything's based off of. I mean, we had to learn the scientific name and the family of
Mm-hmm.
every tree,
Yeah.
and it was drilled into us because it is tough. I mean, you start getting into all these different tree species, and especially you get into the oaks, and some of them look like very similar, and
Mm-hmm.
just the acorn size, the leaf venation. Like, there's so many different things when you really dig into it that you can tell
Yeah.
the differences in bark. But yeah, it's definitely a lot.
So with you said the acorn size.
Hmm.
Now I know each tree drops at a different time, right? But then they also germinate or like at a different time too, where they're edible for like the deer to
Yes.
eat. Like they're not sour or
Hmm.
I don't even know the correct terminology for it, but like when what's that time frame? Like when do white oaks drop and then when do red oaks drop? Because those are like the main ones, obviously.
Yep.
So like
Yes.
when do they drop?
So white oaks are typically like mid-September, and then they're usually, well, sometimes they could be soon, depending on where you're at. They're in September, and then they'll drop until like the first or second week of October. And they don't last very long. They don't have a seed bank, which is like how long a seed can stay viable in the soil for it to resprout once it gets some sunlight.
Okay.
So when a white oak drops, they either get eaten, they rot real quick, or they sprout. And that usually happens within about 2 weeks to a month, anywhere in
Okay.
that time frame there. And then chestnut oaks are same family,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll drop around the same time frame, but they last a little bit longer. Like I've seen good chestnut oak acorns until later October, but it all depends on what the bumper crop is like. So if oaks on one ridge are dropping a bunch of acorns,
Mm-hmm.
chestnut oaks usually will last for a little while, but
Okay.
red oaks are the ones that they don't have, or they do have a seed bank. They have a layover period. So
Mm-hmm.
when they drop, they will lay over the winter and then they'll sprout in the spring. So they drop like in the fall, like mid-October time frame, late October. And they have a harder shell, and when they drop, they have real bitter tannins. They taste like crap.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, any acorn I ate, it was like anytime I put one in my mouth,
Oh
it
my.
tastes terrible. So I can't really tell the bitterness. So
Yeah,
because they all taste terrible to me. I don't know why deer eat them so much. I don't know why.
I don't
But
know.
is there certain like there's obviously certain soil they preferably grow in. Is there a certain like slope you see them grow more in than other slopes?
Yeah, so white oaks are usually lower in elevation.
Okay.
They require a little bit more of a moderately drained soil. Chestnut oaks are the ones you'll see on ridge tops. Red oaks too, like they can withstand well drained soil.
Okay.
Like typically those soils at higher elevations are more acidic or not the most desirable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
getting back to like the red oaks, the deer will let those lay most times if there's chestnut oaks and white oaks in the area. And then that's why it's so important in shed season, because they lose those tannins in like, December, January, February time frame. So they're eating those I mean, it's like a buffet
Mm-hmm.
that they've let lay. And, that's one of the things I definitely look for when I'm shed hunting.
So
Is red
okay,
oaks.
so I found 2 sheds this year. I'll show you them after the podcast because I don't want to. There's some I don't want to show you
Okay.
right now as we're recording. but like if you find one, say that time frame, right? Like you found them and they're by the red oaks because that's where I found them at. There was like tons of deer sign right there.
Yep.
When like do you see or like is there a way you could hunt that? Or would you just wait till the late season to possibly hunt that again?
So yeah, that's typically I haven't had a tag, thankfully, at that time of year. But if I was hunting late archery, most times like around Christmas time,
Mm-hmm.
the deer are really going to start to hit those areas with red oak. So if I was to hunt late season when the deer are still holding antlers, I would definitely focus on those areas. Because like I throw cameras up around Christmas time
Mm-hmm.
just to start seeing the bucks in the area, and I can kind of see when the deer are dropping. That way I'm not going in there and blowing deer out.
Right.
So I can just walk in there and have a good day.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Because that's, I see so much, like, I see so many people, like, they find these sheds and then they have history with this buck. I feel like you have to backtrack where you found that shed. But the one buck that I have, man, he was in that area all the time. Actually, the 2 sheds I found, like, they were in that area, like, all season long. And they still dropped around those red oaks. Like, I'm just wondering, like, there was also white oaks sprinkled on it too. I just think that's really the only way you could probably hunt like a certain buck and find his shed and be like, okay, he's in this area, right? Like, because I know buddy John Prokop, he finds a ton of sheds and he also has history with these bucks and he's able to get them on camera. It's like, man, I feel like you got to do a lot of backtracking for that and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's a lot.
Yeah. I found this year was my best year yet. I found just shy of 100, but that was up until I just found one last week. But my goal was to find a match set and then kill that deer the next year.
I'm looking at the picture right now that has all these. When was this posted? Did you post this? Yeah, May 12th. You posted this picture.
Yep.
This one right here with like it looks like it's flat. Like it looks like maybe it's a 4-point side.
This one right here.
Yeah, that thing's gnarly.
Yeah. So funny thing about this buck is my buddy actually had this deer on camera basically the whole season, and I wasn't going to shed hunt that. I was going to leave that up to him, but he called me one day. It was early, mid-March maybe, second week of March. He called me. He's like, "Hey, you want to go walk this area?" And in that area, there's not many oaks. So I also focus on fern. So
Okay, yeah.
the way our state forest is like the southern part has a lot of oaks. I'll focus on red oaks and scarlet oaks down there. And then, the northern parts of our forest here, it's a lot of dead timber. So on the edge of the south facing slopes, usually on the tops of these ridges, there's a lot of fern. And the deer they'll dig up the rhizomes and eat like the root system. So we're walking up there and I saw some fern at the base of the ridge, and I saw that it went up towards the top, and I knew it was a south facing slope. So I told him, I was like, "Hey, let's go up to the top here and see what's going on." And we got up there, and 5 minutes later, I found a buck. I found a pretty nice 5-point side, and he was like, "Man, I got that buck on camera all season." And then 10 minutes later, I walked 150 yards and found that shed, and another buck he had on camera all season.
So from that point there to where he had the buck on camera, how far roughly was that?
I want to say less than a mile.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes, so that's the hard thing with sheds is like, I still to this day, I found match sets to bucks, 130-inch bucks. I've never even got a picture of.
Right.
It's just like some of these areas where there's not so much food or they've eaten it already before the time they're going to shed, then they'll travel. I've seen bucks go 3-4 miles in the wintertime, shed the antlers, and then back to where they
yeah.
So that's hard.
And you need a lot of time for that. Like, you need to have a lot of time to be able to like backtrack, unless you have the camera that's a mile away and you have the picture of him and you're like, okay, I know there's gonna be fern growing on this south slope over here. Like, go check it out. And I think that's so funny because like when we started the podcast, fern was like, oh, there's no benefit to fern at all. Like, there's no health benefit to deer eating fern. Like, deer aren't going to eat fern at all. And then like it seemed like 2-3 years ago, it's like all of a sudden like deer are now eating fern, and it's like I think they've always been eating fern. Just just kind of like we're overthinking it, and it's like anything green in the woods, I feel like is a health benefit to deer, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah, definitely. I think that during the wintertime, if they don't have a pretty prominent food source, like a bunch of acorns laying around, I think they'll eat just about anything. I've even seen deer browsing mountain laurel, which made zero sense to me because that can be toxic to them at some level. But I mean, I've seen them eating some really odd things in the wintertime.
I've seen I think I've seen them eat moss before too. Like I've seen pictures and videos of them eating moss. Like, they will eat anything because deer are so, they interest me so much. Every time, like you think you know them, and then it's like all of a sudden they change it up. Like how they can, like, they know how much they need to eat or what they need to eat, or like what, like even if you say you have private and you put out bait piles, like they only eat so much of that because they know, their body knows how much they need of that whatever that bait pile is. Like if you put out salt lick, they know they only need so much salt before they like pretty much get some kind of disease from it.
Yeah. If you look at like a breakdown of a deer's diet, like even if you have corn out, they'll eat the corn, they'll come to the corn every day, but like 70% of their diet is browse and forbs and just natural things in the woods that they gravitate towards.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's definitely, shed season has really opened my eyes to a lot of what deer are doing in certain times of year. But
when do you for that, like, because I feel like we're going to late season, we're like this is dropping
I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, I love it because I get to listen to this like multiple times before I get to publish it. But like that early season time frame, the white oaks, like, so let's say it drops September, and then the first 2 weeks you're trying to hunt it, and then all of a sudden you got to find those white oaks. Like, is there a trick that you have? I know some people like they when they go in the woods, they listen for squirrels or they listen for blue jays. You know, those are kind of giveaways. Like, is there anything that you look for other than obviously acorns on the ground?
Yeah, so this time of year, I'll just when I'm out scouting or hanging a camera, I'll take my binoculars with me.
Yep.
And then whenever I find a white oak, I'll just look up in the canopy and you can see the acorns forming. Like this time they're decent size, but they'll still be like half in the cap.
Okay.
So that's what I do. And then, you know, it's hard down here because we don't have many of them, but if I see a pretty good white oak that has acorns, like when I'm out right now this time of year, you know, I'll kind of keep an eye on it because most times there's other white oaks in the area. And if they're dropping, I know that there's going to be deer on them. It just depends how quick they're going to clean them up. And, you know, they're always moving for food, whether it be white oak or, you know, if you can get them on a cut, like I said, like most times they'll stay in there eating for that first part of the season until pressure gets too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, white oaks are.
How often do you move? Like, how often are you moving in the early season time frame? Like, because I feel like with the mobile setups, like they're so light, they're so like easy to go up and down. Like, especially if you're doing saddle hunting, you know, it's just so easy to take them up and down. It's like you kind of have to. Last year, I feel like I did pretty well. Like it was like, you know, when I got in there, I stuck to the tree. Like there's a few times where I like bounced around too much, and I shouldn't have. Like I was on one side of the mountain, then all of a sudden I got down and went to the other side of the mountain. All that kind of like, it's like I should have just stayed there because you never know what's going to happen in that area. Like, how often are you in your head about that too? About like,
oh my gosh,
I'm not seeing it. It's been 3 hours. I haven't seen shit. I got to move,
all
right?
the time. Yep. So I'd say cell cameras are definitely my biggest downfall.
Yeah.
Moving, I don't know. I get in a bad tendency in that time of year where I got a lot of cameras out, and I'll hunt one area where I've been getting some deer on camera, and I can't tell you how many times I've been hunting, and then I'll get a picture of one of the bucks I was chasing in daylight.
Yeah.
In one of the areas that I was thinking about hunting. I do jump around a lot. It's a bad habit of mine. This year, I think I'm going to try to do it a little different. I'm going to try to growing up, we had set ladder stands on public land that we would go to, and that was basically the only stand that I hunted. And I would always eventually get a nice buck. I would just religiously hunt that stand every time. And one of those times I'd come across a nice buck in daylight. And, you know, moving around sometimes I think that hinders, you know, the chances of me being in an area for that buck on that day to move, and then I'm leaving and going to another spot the next day. If I would just spend more time in there and play it right, keep as low of my scent out of there as I can, I think that I would have a better chance of coming across some of these deer.
Yeah, it's that's why I stopped using cell cams. I was like, I just can't do it. Like it was like I would get pictures of buck. Like I still have, there's still 2 out in the woods right now up at my parents' camp. I just haven't had time to go up there and pull them out of the woods. But I remember there was like during the rut, November 15th, I had a buck cruise. Yeah, it was November 15th. I had a buck cruising past my camera chasing a doe, and my dad was up there hunting. And he texted me the day before saying, I didn't see shit. And then that night, I'm like, well, I just had a buck chasing in this area. He's like, oh, okay. So like it plays with your head. Like it's like you start like second guessing everything that you do. And that's why I went purely to like standard cameras. It's just like the only time I can check them is when I go in there and hunt, or I let them soak all season and just go off like reading the sign and hunting the sign.
And you don't lose that feeling of, you know, you're always excited because you don't know what is in there. If you you run cell cameras, you know, I haven't had a picture in there in 3 days. Like this makes you feel like, man, I don't want to go hunting there.
Yeah. But
if you just run a regular camera, you know, you're going into an area like, I saw some good sign in here. I've always had deer in here in the past. Like it kind of, you know, it can go both ways. But,
yep, it could 100% go both ways. To be like, okay, I need to go into this area to check this camera. and you go in there, you check it, there's nothing on camera. It's like, shit, I just wasted all this time coming in here. Now I gotta set up here, right? Or the cell cam, if you have nothing in that area, you don't go there, but yet you could I'm sure there's case studies out there. I've heard of other people saying where like they have put cameras up, they'll get one picture of a buck, and then the next time he'll go around it, he'll skirt it, right? Like it happens all the time, and it's like, man, either way, you're in your head, and
Definitely.
it's like sometimes I wish like trail cameras never existed, but yet also you think about how many deer have lived because of trail cameras.
Yes, definitely.
It works both ways there.
It
too.
does. Yep.
Like there's some monsters in PA now because I feel like because trail cameras and because, well, it also goes back to less hunters too in the woods.
Yeah, there's a deer in the same area where I shot my buck in rifle season this year. This year he'll at least be 9 years old. But 2 years ago, he was 160 inches. And yeah, the guys at work, we found his sheds when we were planting trees. And it was like none of us had seen a buck of that size in the area. So I spent last year, I had this buck on camera so many times throughout the summer. And he's still alive. So I don't really want to say too much.
Yeah, no, do not.
But I know this deer is that old because I may not have a lot of history with him, but I ran into a few guys who've had pictures of him dating back to 2019, him being a 130-inch buck in 2019. And, as much as I'd say 2 years ago was the biggest rack he's ever had, and he would have been 7.5 years old. And, last year he had he had a pretty unique rack. He had 2 drop tines, and that's something you don't usually see on public land. And he was probably 150 inches last year. And I spent so much time during the summer, and I kind of pigeonholed myself a little bit because I was trying so hard to get, in a position where I could see this deer in daylight. And first week of September, shed his velvet, and he moved 3 miles from where I had him in one day. And he stayed there for the first 3 weeks of the season, and he was moving in daylight.
Yeah.
But it was in a really remote area, hard to get to. And I found this out in shed season. I ran into a guy shed hunting, and he was showing me all these pictures and giving me all this intel on this deer, and I had no idea where he went.
And that's how you found out he was 3 miles away from you because of this other guy who was just spilling the beans to you pretty much.
Yep.
Was he an older guy or was he just younger?
He's 30s.
Okay. And he was just like, I do feel like there was a point where when the buck I got on camera, it was just like, I just want to tell everyone. Like, I was just like, man, this thing is like so big. Like, I just want to tell everyone about this buck and everything like that.
Yep.
And then it came to like, okay, because the podcast, because the self-filming and everything like that, people are finding out what I drive and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't want to tell anyone now. Like, even like I tell my close friends or like someone who I know is out of state or someone who like, I gotta trust them, like fully trust them to like tell them, because like big deer make people do
crazy stuff,
crazy shit. Yes. Big time.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's hard for me. When I get a big buck on camera, I want to show all my buddies but yeah, it's definitely this buck. I know the year that we found his sheds, the following year, which would have been last year, it got so much pressure. And I don't think it was necessarily me or anybody, because I was with a few guys when we had found those antlers. But I think just word got out about him because he was, so big and so unique. And people were getting pictures of him, and it was floating around. Like, I was having people send me pictures of this buck from like an hour away from here. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's, like I said, big bucks will make people do crazy things and go absolutely nuts over them. Like, and you can only, I feel like you have you have a window, right? And
Yes.
I was thinking about this the other day. Like when you find a big buck, it kind of makes you go crazy too. Like it's
Yes.
always on your mind, and it almost feels like a Black Friday type deal, right? Or like
Almost.
a Facebook Market type deal. Like,
Yep.
so
I got to get it now.
I just bought this camera off Facebook Marketplace, and like the lady didn't message me back it within 10 minutes, and I was like, she's gonna sell. It's gonna be gone. Like I can't, like, you go crazy overthinking about that.
Yep.
And when you find the shed, when you have multiple pictures, like you have multiple pictures, I have multiple pictures of a buck, and like it's like you go crazy over it. And it's like I have a certain window before everyone finds out about this buck,
Yep.
right? Or someone else is going to get it, and I'm not even going to know about it. It's just going to disappear for the rest of my life.
Yep.
It's so crazy to think about that we go nuts over these deer.
I know. I mean, honestly, it's enough to make you stay up or lose sleep over it, even before you can hunt them. Like this deer, it was like the biggest deer I'd ever had on camera to this point. And, it drove me nuts. Like I said, I kind of pigeonholed myself. I put most all my cameras in this area, spent all my time scouting. I spread some cameras out, but, that area up there, it's surrounded by thousands of acres of dead timber and mountain laurel.
Yeah.
And he could have been anywhere. Like,
yeah.
As soon as I lost him on camera, I was just throwing Hail Marys out there. And I had no clue where he was. And then, I kind of obviously learned about it. But, if I would have had more time with that deer and maybe had a few years of history with him, maybe I could have caught up with him eventually. I don't know. Those deer are so that age, that smart, public land.
Yeah, and the thing with like when they get that old, everyone says how their home territory shrinks down too. And it sounds like his area wasn't shrinking down. He was like that 7 to 9 year old range. It's like 3 miles. Like that's a good distance to shift.
I'd say for probably about 3 weeks to a month, he was kind of sticking in the same area, but I don't know, towards like November, he was doing 5 or 6 miles round trips in a day. Like the guy I ran into had cameras pretty much all over the place, and he would get pictures of them a mile here, and then I would get a picture of him a mile and a half from there, and then he'd be moving another mile, and this was all midday. Yeah. He would just do the most sporadic things, and it's definitely
it's one you couldn't like. You can't like judge based on the wind. It's like he's just being random. Like it's just like one of those random things. I mean, in November kind of makes sense, like being him sporadic because he's still trying to find a doe probably. But you think a buck of that age and caliber would know where the hot doe are.
Yep.
At all times. Like you'd think he would know that, so he wouldn't be traveling nearly as much. So it's like that's like kind of like the buck that contradicts everything that science says.
And drove me crazy.
Yeah, it's like you can't break him down. Like the one I have on camera, it's like he was in the same area pretty much all year long. Like literally from like when he was in velvet to late season, December 25th. So it's like he was in the same area. It's like that one there, it's like it's more feasible.
Yes.
To track, but like yours there, it's like I just have to like sit somewhere and just like hope he passes by.
That's basically what I was doing. I had little to no intel. He didn't leave much sign. Like every trail camera picture from 2019 I've seen of this deer, he's never broken a tine. And like if you ever like pictures of him during the rut, his tarsal glands are never brown. It's like the weirdest thing. He's like such a timid deer. Like he doesn't like I've never seen any footage of him fighting camera like picture wise or like I say, he's never broke a tine. Like just a weird deer. Very weird.
You ever see him with other deer too?
No, he was always alone.
Are we hunting the same deer? I'm sure we're not, because mine's been in the same area the whole season, so it's completely different. But like, I mean, when I had my one camera on video mode of this deer, and like he would just like rub his like one point against the tree, and I'd check the tree out. There's no marks on it. Like the only time I seen him like kind of do anything that's like buck related
Mm-hmm.
was October 7th. He hit a scrape, and like that's the only time he ever like got up on his hind legs and ripped apart like the branch. Like that's the only time.
Yeah,
Other than that, he just walks by him and just does normal stuff.
You're explaining this deer almost to a T. Like I'd made a bunch of mock scrapes in that area, and I had a bunch of other deer come and hit him, and I would get pictures of him, but he would just stand like 10 feet behind them and just look at the scrape. He would never come in and talk. I mean, my human scent was way out of there. This was like 2 months after I had made them, and there was multiple deer who had hit the scrape, left their scent, and he would just stay away from any type of normalcy. It was like the weirdest thing.
That's so like why this guy, I've never seen him with a buck like at all. Like he's like no pictures I've seen of him. Like November 1st, he cruises by the scrape, and another buck cruises by the scrape too, but they're not together at that point. Like it's like I've never seen him even a bachelor group with like even a velvet or anything. That's like it's so weird. Like to when you said about the whole like he'll stand behind other bucks, I have another mature buck, like a really old buck. Like he has his one side's like he has like I think he has a kicker, he has all this kind of stuff on one side. His other side's broke off. Like it's like comes up, it's like 3 points and it breaks off at the top. But he's like old as like his antlers are like kind of like as white as this. It was weird. It was really weird. I was like, I would like to shoot you as well.
Oh yeah.
I would honestly probably shoot that older buck over the one that I have tons of data on. Just because he looks like so cool. Like it's gnarly. Just it would be like like his points are literally legit points. Like like it's not like rounded off or anything.
Yeah.
But like so in the late season, like January 15th, I had a younger buck, a young 6-point with a doe on a heavy trail. But then if you look at the trail camera picture and you zoom in, you can see this older buck standing like probably 60 yards behind him, just looking at him. Like just staying right behind. He's like, when that doe doesn't want you or doesn't want to be with you anymore, I'm moving in. It's so cool to see that. Like, and that's why I love running trail cameras. That's the point. I love them, but like they make you go crazy sometimes, especially when you have like so much data on one particular buck.
Yeah, definitely. So do you run video on your cameras a lot, or do you?
No, I only ran because the one camera you can do video and pictures on. So I was like, well, I'll do both. I don't know. For what I'm doing, like putting them over scrapes, I'd rather just run pictures. Like it's 3 burst pictures with 5-second delay and all that kind of stuff. Like I'd rather just do that because if I can do 3 bursts, I'm fine. But I do like video mode though. It's pretty cool to look at.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, even the 3 bursts, if you have it on a scrape, you can still kind of tell which direction the deer is coming from and where he's heading.
Yep.
Sometimes I run video, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I just run pictures. But
it is pretty cool to see, like, because if I didn't have the camera on video mode for the one I guess the one I'm after, my number one. He's definitely number one on the list. But like I never would have seen that he was like kind of timid like that with the tree. Like I never would have seen that. When you see a big buck, you think automatically he's aggressive. Like you think like he's king of the jungle or whatever. Like, but the other buck that I have is smaller than him, but he's aggressive, and it's like it shows in every single picture because he'll come in with his ears back all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was so odd. Like I didn't really pick up on this until I started seeing like having the scrapes out. Started seeing him like the way he was acting around them, and then I started putting 2 and 2 together. Like, man, this deer's never had a broken tine. And whenever the sheds that we had picked up, he had like no bark in the bases of his antlers. Like he wasn't even rubbing that much.
Yeah.
But when he did rub, it was in either a pitch pine or a white pine because he had sap. So I knew he was in, somewhere in a general area, in that location.
Yeah.
But he's definitely the hardest deer that I've ever tried to. He's the reason actually why I killed the buck I killed this year.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where, I hunted all archery almost every single day. I passed some bucks up, but I was trying to kill something 100 inches. That's
Okay.
like that's a good number for me for public land. If I can kill a 100-inch buck every year till the day I die, I'll be a happy man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't think I have 100. Well, maybe I have 100-inch buck, but yeah, it's like I don't even know what a 100-inch buck looks like because I'm like the first thing that comes by me that gets me pumped up, I'm shooting.
It's hard, so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, in archery, I had a couple opportunities. I did see two or three bucks that 120-inch deer, but I never had an opportunity at those. I had 60, 70 yards. I'd see them moving. A glimpse here. One of the bigger bucks I had an encounter with was right at dark, and it was first week in November. I rattled, and he came down off the ridge, and I could hear him coming from like a mile away. Those big buck steps. I knew.
Running it all?
No, he was just on a deadline to me.
Okay.
But he waited. I knew he heard me because I heard noise, like he was thrashing down. So it was like it's like a saddle and then a ridge that would come like a gradual, like downward towards me. And he was like kind of lower on the saddle. I could hear him. It was like 250 yards away. I could hear him thrashing a tree. And he waited until just about legal light was over. And then he started coming.
Yep.
And by the time he got to me, it was after shooting light. But I got to see him for a little bit. He stood there at like 50, 55 yards, just standing there, licking his nose, just, on high alert. He ruled the area. And I found a shed from him the year before. He had a split brow tine on his right side. And I could see that. I knew it was him. And then he disappeared and I never saw him again, never even on camera.
So you said that your setup, were you setting up pretty much the same area every single time because you're going after this one buck and you're trying to get him, but also you're an opportunistic hunter. Like if a good 100-inch buck or that 120-inch buck, whatever comes by you, like you're still going to shoot that.
Yep.
How were you setting up in that time from early October up to that November when you saw him? Like what was that setup like?
So I had some good intel on some scrapes. So I barely hunted where this big deer was, like in his where I thought he was at. I would always hunt like the outskirts. And I spent some time there, but I limited my time there based on I did try to play the wind, especially with that deer. I knew that he was definitely pretty, he's aware of everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I had some other areas that I had some good pictures of deer of, and I would jump from those areas. But most of the time, it was on, that towards the later October, I'm definitely hunting scrapes as much as I can or around a scrape because I usually get a lot of daylight activity on scrapes that time of year and leading in first week in November. But, transitioning from the food to the scrapes, that's it's a hard, I don't know when I actually start to do it. It's like, I guess I kind of lean on trail camera pictures a little too much, I think. But as soon as I stop seeing, deer moving in an area where, there's a lot of white oaks or chestnut oaks, then I start to focus on, pre-rut activity.
Yeah.
So that buck I was talking about with the split brow tine, that was in a different area of the bigger deer that I was actually the one with the two drop tines.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I hunted most of archery in those certain areas. Later, like I said, later October, hunting scrapes and kind of pre-rut. And then, I had another opportunity second week in November, and I maybe should have shot it, but it worked out for me in the end. It was a nice 6-point. I rattled him in, and he stood there at 40 yards. I had my bow. I was getting ready to shoot, and I was leaving for New York because New York's first day of rifle was November 16th.
Okay.
And this was like 2 days before I was leaving.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I could get done and then go up to New York and then come back and just relax here and not even have to go out and rifle.
Yeah.
And I didn't shoot it. And I went up to New York. I ended up getting a buck up there the first day. So then I came back because archery was till November 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back. I had 3 days left of the season to hunt then. Because I took off. I came back and then I forget I had something going on.
Yeah.
But I hunted those last 3 days and didn't have much activity. Saw some bucks chasing, but nothing in my favor.
Mm-hmm.
And then rifle, I hunted, had a couple opportunities at does I opted not to take. And then the second to last day, I was hunting for this big deer with the drop tines. I had one of my buddies from back home sent me a picture that a guy sent to him of this buck the 14th of November.
Yep.
So I knew he was in the area. So I was focusing on other places in rifle season that I had, trail camera pictures of.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there. I was like, you know what? I got 1 day left. I'm throwing a Hail Mary here. I went in. I sat. I was going to do an all-day sit. And I was sitting like on the edge of a ridge that went down into a saddle and then eventually went down into a real deep hollow with a lot of rhododendron and mountain laurel. Super thick. It's real far walk to get into. So I knew not many people were intruding in that area. And like right around 9:30, I had 2 does come up, 2 yearlings. This was December 13th. And he was right behind them. I had a lot of stuff in my way. And I was in my saddle, so I didn't have much of a rest to shoot. So these 2 does came up, and they eventually started working past me. And the buck that I shot, he was standing behind them like a statue in mountain laurel, and all I could see was a silhouette.
Yeah.
And then I saw him turn his head, and I saw he was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Second to last day of rifle, I'm like, hey, I'm shooting this thing.
He's nice. Yeah.
So I had like a baseball size opening. And, I probably should have been on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Being up in the tree, I just felt like it would be better with scent. But it ended up hurting me because I didn't have much of shooting because of all the limbs and stuff in my way, shooting downhill into the saddle. Mm-hmm. So I shot first time, and I watched a limb fall in my scope.
Oh.
And he just stood there like a statue.
Yeah.
So I racked another one, got it on him, and I'm breathing. Like, I'm all worked up, breathing heavy. Scope's all fogged up. So I had to take time, wipe my scope off, get back on him, shoot, and he's still standing there. Nothing happened. I only had 3 bullets with me. Stupid.
Yeah. Only 3, none in your backpack.
No, I was down in the dumps, end of the season. I'm like, if it's, I'm like, it was tough for me to even get out of bed to go that morning. Yeah. Because I had hunted every single day. Ooh. Leading up to that point. It's like, whatever. Took 3 bullets with me. I had already shot 2, and I'm like, man, I got 1 opportunity left. Like, this has got to happen. And I get back on him, and he took 2 steps forward. And I had a softball size opening at this time.
Yeah.
So I shot, and as soon as I shot, he tore off like a bat out of hell, running down the saddle.
Oh my gosh.
So I called my brother. I was like, hey, I just shot one, or I shot at one. Mm-hmm. I shot 3 shots, and I might have missed all 3 shots. And he was like, well, just go down and look for blood. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, don't tell anybody, because I probably missed him. So I go down there. I can't find where it was because I'm 90 yards. I'm trying to pick out landmarks of where he was by. I get down there. It's everything looks different.
Right.
So I start walking, looking for blood. Don't see anything. I can't even tell where he was standing.
Oh my god!
So I walk down 100 yards, and then I make a horseshoe and try to come back looking for blood. And I get 40 yards from where I had stopped. Walk 40 yards further off the saddle towards where I was sitting. I look over to my right, and he was laying suspended in mountain laurel, dead. Yeah. He had I guess done one last leap and died, and was laying suspended in mountain laurel.
That's insane. And you have no idea what those first 2 shots, the first one you hit that limb.
Yep.
Do you think you hit aimed high? Do you think you flinched? I don't know. What happened to that second shot?
I don't know. My emotions were so high. It could have been a number of things.
Yeah. So where'd you hit him at? Like where was the entrance and exit at?
It was perfect, right in
Really?
the armpit, and it came out. I centered his heart. And
Third
I think
time's
I nicked the bottom of one lung.
third time's the
But
charm, I guess.
yeah, and turns out he had a bullet hole in his ear from. In some of those pictures, you can see the flap. It's like freshly scabbed over.
Was it on the right side?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see the cut.
Yeah. So like it.
Dang.
At first, I thought it was a puncture wound from an antler, and then I folded the flaps back together, and it's like a perfect hole.
That's wow.
And it makes sense because
Insane.
that area gets heavily
Yeah.
pressured and rifled. A lot of deer drives.
Do you think how old was he? Do you think he was?
So I had pictures of him from the year before, and then the same guy actually that I ran into shed hunting, he had pictures of him from the year before that. So he was at least 4.
Okay.
He's 102 inches maybe.
I mean, he looks like an older buck. Like he looks like he was like he looks like he was an older buck, but also he looks like he ran around a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like he was what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8?
Barely an 8 point.
There, yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I count it. I can put a ring on it. So, it counts.
Yeah. The 2 years before that, he was a 7 point, and then he just put that little time up.
Hey, 7 point to an 8 point. That's pretty cool. I haven't gotten, 8 point is like something I'd love to get. Like it's 8, 6, 8, and 10 are like the ones you want to get. Like I got my 6 point this year. Love to be able to get an 8 or 10. Yep. Like if it's a 10, I feel like PA is like a 10-point shoulder mount. Like if you get a 10, you automatically get a shoulder mount. It's just one of those things.
Oh yeah.
Everyone does that.
Especially nowadays. I mean, the deer quality has definitely gone up. I think antler restrictions was the best thing that has happened to hunting in Pennsylvania.
I think so. Antler restrictions, I think it's been the best thing for the wildlife that's happened in Pennsylvania. I think for the hunter wise,
yes.
Like I don't think it's been as good as we would like it to be, because I think like the older, I think they should make senior citizens should be able to shoot anything. Yeah. Like if you get a senior citizen license, you should be able to be like almost like youth license, where it's like if it has a spike, it counts as a buck, right? Like I think that should be, or like youth can shoot anything they see. It's pretty much brown and down. I think that's how seniors should be too, where it's like it's brown and down. Because like my grandfather hasn't shot a deer in years, like long time.
Yeah, I mean it's harder for them to get into a lot of these places. Access is definitely harder. I don't know. There's a couple things. I think maybe the Monday opener. A lot of times, older generations would spend time in deer camp, and then over the weekend and hunt Monday. I don't know. I mean, my dad, he's 61, and he's starting to slow down a little bit, but he's been very fortunate in archery season. The last 2 years, he's killed 2 nice bucks. But he's one of those hunters his whole life. 3 points on one side, he's happy with it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, my dad's the same way. I just think it's older generation. I mean, I'm still to the like if a 3 point came by me and it was like a pretty cool looking 3 point, I don't know. I don't know. Like it's just I haven't had the like I passed up 1 buck in my hunting career. And it was like I was in a saddle for the first time ever. I was shooting with my bow first year ever out there, and this basket 7 came up to me, like it would have been an 8-yard chip shot, and I was like, nope, I know there's bigger buck in the area.
Yeah,
that was the first time I ever passed him up, and I'm like, I didn't shoot a buck that year, and I was like, I regret that right there. Because so but yet again, I think about it, it's like, okay, if I'm not if I'm want to put meat in the freezer, I'll shoot doe. Like if I go home with if I end the season with a buck tag still in my pocket, like that just means there's going to be a buck out that gets bigger for next year.
True.
It's it takes you got to have a strong mentality for that though. Like big time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that I'm like a trophy hunter, because I'm really not. But I think at some point I would like to kill something on public land, like
Mhm.
around that 120-inch mark.
Yep.
I know it's so freaking tough, but at the end of the day, a 90-inch buck walks past me the first week of archery season, I'm more than likely throwing an arrow at it.
So how many deer have you shot with the bow?
Um, oh man, probably 15 or more, maybe.
Okay, because that I feel like that's where it changes for me a little bit, right? Because I shot one buck this previous year and couldn't recover him. He ended up
Mm,
surviving, and I undershot a doe 3 years ago. So I haven't even shot a single deer and recovered the deer and harvested the deer with my bow yet. So it's like
okay.
I feel like I feel like I can't let something pass by me, right? Like with that
Oh
bow
yeah.
yet, because like yeah, sure. If this big guy comes by me, like that'd be great. But like if another one comes by me, like it's gonna be the mental game of deciding: do I shoot this deer that's walking by, this buck that's walking by me that's right now that I haven't shot a single deer with my bow yet, or do I let him walk and hopefully put a good shot on this bigger buck?
Hmm.
Right? It's like it's a big mental game right there for me, where it's like, what do I do? I got to weigh
Yep.
up the options there.
Yeah. So I grew up. Well, so I shot my first deer with a bow when I was 12.
Mhm.
I shot a doe, and every year consecutively, I've at least gotten one deer with my bow, whether it be a buck or a doe. But I also hunt in Maryland,
Yeah,
and I do all archery hunting down there.
yeah.
So the last 2 years, I've been able to get 4 bucks. I got 4 bucks last year, 4 bucks this past season. Two in Maryland, one in New York, and then one here.
Right.
So having those options, I guess maybe I'm more willing to shoot something on the smaller side, maybe down in Maryland, and then
Yeah.
hold out up here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just
In
kind of
Maryland, I would 100% be the same way. I was going to go down this season, but I don't think I'm going to because I'm going up to Massachusetts and for hunt stock and all that kind of
oh
stuff. Have a
wow,
rut camp. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to ask too much of my wife. Like, I'm just going to
yeah,
do these things and then just leave it at that and just focus on Pennsylvania. If I get one down early, like say if I get one like this opening weekend, which I'll have one down, like when this
hmm
episode drops, we're going to have the big guy down. It's guaranteed,
oh,
right?
guaranteed.
It's going to
I
get
hope
into
it does.
person, right? But like, you know, then maybe I may be like, okay, well, now I can go down to Maryland a little bit here and there to try and
Yep.
get another one.
Yeah, it
But
is nice because you can shoot 3 bucks down there.
yeah, that's Jersey. I heard it's like 7 buck you
Yeah,
can shoot down there.
yeah,
That's insanity.
it is. And then Maryland is also, well, Region B is unlimited does.
That's see to me, it's just like, how do you have a good management plan with like I feel like PA gets a lot of like crap from like the residents,
Hmm.
but like I feel like we have a much better management plan than like Jersey and Maryland, where it's like, yeah, just go out and shoot 7 buck. Like if PA was like shoot 7 buck, it'd be like there'd be no deer
Yep.
left in Pennsylvania.
One thing I guess with Maryland I've seen is the amount of hunters is definitely not even comparable to here in PA.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You have a lot of people who own property that won't let you hunt, and they got 100 deer in their field a night.
Gosh, yeah. Yeah,
But
it's insane. The developments down there. So we'll end on this question. I think this is an interesting question that I literally just thought of after you said that about the number of hunters in Maryland. Do you think if PA turns into like Maryland, where there's not a lot of hunters, and we start doing the 3 buck, do you think numbers would start going up because of that again? Like, say it drops down, right? Like drastically.
mhm.
Do you think that would change things? Do you think the game commission would open that up then to a possibility of 3 buck?
I don't know. I mean, the way that we're leaning with more doe tags and more deer being able to be harvested, if numbers drop of hunters, if number of hunters drop, and more people are able to shoot more bucks, I don't know. I think it might bring people from other states too.
Yep.
Surrounding states like maybe Ohio or
Mhm.
New York, places that are 1 buck.
Yeah, because then
And
you'll have like, right now the caliber of buck are really good. in Pennsylvania. You know, they're the average 6 points, you know, nothing fancy. So don't come to PA if you're non-resident. We don't want you here. But like you have, yeah, if you have the caliber of buck that we have, and you have an out-of-state hunt where they can be like, oh my gosh, the tag's that cheap. You can come to Pennsylvania, shoot 3. You could probably shoot 3 Pope and Young buck if you had the opportunity. Like if you had a good area, you could shoot 3 Pope and Young buck.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying it's easy, but like if you put the time in, you could do it. In Pennsylvania. But then eventually you'd have like the Maryland caliber of buck, where it's like, you know, you maybe get a 6 point, or like I'm not saying Maryland has small deer down there, but like it's harder to find bigger buck like you do in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the deer density down there is definitely high. There's a lot of deer there, but like what you just said, it is harder almost, seems like, to come by, you know, a 3-year-old buck down there. I don't know, you know, I guess maybe it has something to do with the deer density. But yeah, it's a good question. I think that it'd be very interesting to see.
It would be, I feel like then people could be like, you're just trying to get rid of the deer herd at that point. Then you have like the right to say that, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think the numbers will start going up slowly. I think hopefully by this, when this comes out the first week of October, second week of October, like hopefully those doe numbers are down. Those doe tag numbers are down.
I know.
Because I don't want to go into the season with all those doe tags there. It's like, that's just,
it's a lot of.
They should like shut it off at some point. Just like shut it. Like you have like the first 3 weeks of October, just shut off the doe tag being bought. Like it's like just like stop the doe tags from being bought.
Yeah, or like in Maryland, like you don't even have to get a doe tag.
Yeah,
I mean it's unlimited does.
Right.
But I don't know if Pennsylvania should ever go to something like that. But
no,
maybe if you're a resident, you get like an automatic 3 does a year or something, or you know, instead of having to go through the tags, like buying tags, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean down near Philly, it's like they can have 15 tags, I think now, on like to go out and hunt. It's like that's insanity to have 15 total tags.
It is nuts.
Hopefully no one eats that much deer meat. Like I love deer meat, but like I feel like that's like overconsumption at that point.
Have to be giving it to food banks or something, donating it somewhere.
Give it to your dog.
I mean, it's just me and my fiance, and we had 5 deer in the freezer, and we are almost out of deer. I think. I mean, I gave some to my parents and some to my brother, and you know, we gave some to other family members, but we still kept a lot of deer meat, and that's about enough for us. We have deer meat probably 3 times a week, and you know, we're about out of it, so it's about time to load it back up.
Yeah, I have some meat from my North Carolina buck, which was 2 years ago. I have a little bit of that left. It's in a different freezer. I don't know why we don't use that up. I don't know. We keep going to the ones I got last year. I need to use that. But yeah, meat's going down, and it's like, I mean, deer season's almost here. Need to start getting. I want to at least if I can get 3 deer down, I'll be happy.
Oh yeah, that's a good year.
2 doe, 1 buck, or 3 doe. Like if I can fill the freezer with 3 deer, I'm happy with that.
Yep.
So Luke, I've had you on here for about an hour and 20 minutes now. Close to that. So don't want to keep you any longer. You know, I know you have a fiance there and all that kind of stuff to watch TV with. Yeah. So where can people follow you at and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so on Instagram, Luke, just look up Luke Michaels. It's Luke_Michaels5, and then the Public Chase on Instagram.
Cool, man.
And then, yep.
Appreciate you coming on. It was a fun chat, and hopefully I get to see that buck you had.
You as well. Yeah, I had a good time.
Opening 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I got some deer down in Maryland that opens up September 6th. So,
yep. Cool, man.
I'll be down there.
Cool. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good.